Just want to check in and see how everyone is going. The subject for tonight is how to reignite your mojo. And this has kind of come about through a series of different conversations I've had with family, with friends, how I've been feeling lately here in Melbourne with the extension of the lockdown and what's been going on here, and talking with clients around the world and how people are feeling. So I can see there's a few of you on the call. If you want to say hi in the chat box so I can see who's on the call, that would be lovely. And if you're watching this recording afterwards, then please say hi in the chat box anyway. It's nice to see who watches the calls, and please participate with your comments, whether you're watching it live or afterwards. So, reigniting your mojo. What's the theme that's been coming through is that people are feeling pretty flat at the moment. Hi Mish, thank you for saying hello. So, flat in the sense of losing that kind of inspiration. Hi Margaret, lovely that you could join. Losing our inspiration. What gets us fired up? What makes us feel motivated and inspired and enthused to do more in life? With things being quiet around us, the world not being quite so busy as it used to be, some people are feeling like they've really kind of lost that spark and that creative energy, or just simply the motivation and the drive, because we're not able to make the same kind of plans. Life doesn't look the same as it used to. We're living in uncertainty. In the unknown. We haven't been here before. We don't know how long it's going to last. We don't know what we're moving into in the future. So it's a very unusual time. Oh, I can see a few more people on the call now. So hello Jane, hi Mandy, hi Margaret. Two Margarets there. So those that have joined the call live, how are you finding at the moment? How are you feeling in particular in terms of your level of motivation and inspiration and where things are at for you? If you can type, get your fingers working, warm them up, chat in the chat box and share what's going on with you. Even though some people, obviously in Melbourne, we've got pretty dire situation here in terms of the lockdown. But even family and friends that I've been speaking with in Sydney are finding that they're just kind of feeling flat. It's almost like we've become a bit entrained through the lockdown process for our energy to become a bit smaller, to become maybe a little bit deflated in terms of what's inspiring us and activating our energy. So how are you feeling at the moment, those that are on the live call? Maybe you can just share. I think there might be a bit of a lag tonight in the comments. Jane has said feeling like Groundhog Day. Yep. Yeah, I'm my moment of greatest groundhog? It's actually when I go to bed at night and I go, hello pillow, you're in the same position, and not a lot has changed during the course of my day. Because in Melbourne we're really essentially meant to stay home, so there's not a lot of activity during the day that gives that variety. So my Groundhog Day is that moment when I go to bed and I go, okay, there hasn't been a lot of variety today. And it's not necessarily boredom. It's not necessarily a lack of things to do even, but it is that feeling of there hasn't necessarily been a lot of change and activity in the day that is very different, because things are, I guess, a bit smaller in some ways. So Mandy has said the change in the weather has made a big difference. Totally agree. Certainly helps lift your mood. I am very pleased that in Melbourne, our major period of intense lockdown has been over winter. It wasn't quite the challenge if it had been sunshine outside, and as the weather's warming up now, it's really nice to be able to get out and we've got a bit of extra time for exercise. Gina, hello Gina. I'm feeling a little flat, but no, there is hope. Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. Jane has said, waiting for it to pass, thus less planning for fun activities, holidays and future. Yeah, waiting, being in that state of waiting. That's a very interesting energy to be in. When we're in the energy of waiting, we're kind of a little bit stuck. We're not necessarily being present to the energy that's happening at the moment, and we're kind of a little bit holding on to what's been in the past and a little bit searching for what's going to come in the future. So it's an interesting energy when we're waiting, and particularly, Jane, as you've said, waiting for things to pass when we don't really know what it's going to pass into. There's been a lot of conversations around, where we're at the moment in terms of consciousness and global events and everything, and are we waiting for things to pass so that we can go back to the way they were, go back to normal? But the normal wasn't necessarily the healthiest way of operating. So this is potentially a very dynamic time of immense global change, and there's certainly a lot of structures and things that are breaking down globally every day. If you look at the media headlines, there's more systems and structures that are breaking down and falling apart and being challenged at the moment. So I'm not sure that it's even if we wanted it to go back to the way it was, I don't think there's going to be a lot left standing that is still the way it was. I think everything is in an immense period of change at the moment. Margaret has said, I've planted summer flowering plants in pots on my balcony today. Good to look forward to them blooming. That's a beautiful thing to do. Yeah, that's going with the energy at the moment as we're going into springtime. And the planting of those seeds, and some of those seeds that were planted over winter that have had the appearance of being dormant, but maybe they've just had the energy building that they're now going to shoot through the surface as we get into the warmer weather, and springtime, new things are going to be coming. So thank you for those comments. How are you finding your level of motivation? So Gina has said feeling a bit flat. Those of you that are on the live call, how are you finding your level of motivation at the moment? Even to simply plant those flowers in the pots for summer takes a level of motivation to get your energy going. So Margaret's got some energy happening there to take that initiative. Has anyone else been feeling a bit flat and stuck in their energy? Some of the conversations I've had with people have been that because we can't necessarily make long-term plans, and because our movements have become a bit more restricted, that there's just not that same motivation to dream, to think, to feel inspired, to take new initiative, I guess. Is what we're talking about here. So how are you feeling in terms of your level of initiative at the moment? On a scale of 0 to 10, where 0, like there's just no initiative energy there within you, and 10, you're feeling on fire, how would you rate your level of energy at the moment in that area? I know last weekend when the new extension of the Melbourne lockdown was announced, my level of energy around that just kind of plummeted for a bit of a period until I had to make that mental adjustment that, okay, the lockdown is going to extend. So Margaret has said, I had a week off from work that helped break the Groundhog Day effect of working from home. Yep. Mandy has said about a 5 out of 10. Yeah. Yeah, so one of the things I realized when I was sort of making that mental adjustment, which we're all having to make in different ways at the moment, was that there was a part of me that was still resisting what was happening. And that it was actually as much my resistance to things, not liking things being the way they are at the moment, that kind of internal struggle that I was having, it was as much that energy within me that was actually keeping myself stuck as my external circumstances. In fact, I would say it was pretty much 90% my energy within me and my own resistance to what was happening that was keeping my energy stuck and keeping my level of motivation really flat. Hi Joe, lovely to see you. You're fluctuating great days and flat days, yeah. Yep, that fluctuation. So we'll have a burst of energy and then we're not able to sustain it. And so the energy will drop again. Mandy has said, I find the beginning of the week is tough and my energy is really flat. But by the back end of the week, I get more motivated. So yeah, they're really interesting comments in terms of what's happening with our energy. So when the lockdown extension was announced and I noticed that my energy went really flat and I made this mental adjustment and I was out walking my dog, which is kind of the only activity I do outside my apartment at the moment. And I realized I was in a state of resistance. I was annoyed with what was happening. I was frustrated and I didn't like it. So I went, you know what? What would happen if I just completely surrendered? If I totally accepted that this is where things are at in this moment, and I decide to just go with the energy rather than struggle against it or resist it. So I completely surrendered and I just went, okay, how can I flow with the energy of what is happening now? And by the time I came home from my walk, which was less than an hour, all these ideas, this creative energy was coming up within me and inspiring me and things that I could aspire to, that the energy started inflating, that spark started heating up within me and that creative flow was happening. So I actually found it, by the time I got home from my walk, I was actually going, woohoo, lockdown. I've got another, 6, maybe 8 weeks. Who knows how long it's going to be before I can go back to Sydney to visit my family at least. How can I make the best use of this time? I actually came home inspired by the lockdown, crazy enough as it might sound, to go, great, I'm going to make really good use of this time. I'm going to flow with the energy. And so all these ideas for creative projects came up. Ways that I could be of greater service in the world, ways that I could use technology to have fun with family and friends that I can't see at the moment. So on Saturday night I did cooking with my sister in Sydney. That was really fun, and I'm going to do some art with my mum through technology, just to be able to do some normal type of activities with other people. Using technology, some of that incidental activity that we take for granted that we're not currently doing, so that we can still be interacting more. So I came home after surrendering and really going with the flow of the energy, actually feeling very enthusiastic about the situation and how I could use the time. So that was kind of what inspired me to do this Facebook tonight, to go, okay, why is our energy so flat? Yes, there's a lot of things happening in the world. Things have kind of come to a grinding halt. We can't do the same things that we used to. We're restricted in our movements. But what that's really telling me is that our level of motivation and drive and energy and enthusiasm for life is dictated by our physical circumstances. Which means that our material experience, our physical experience, because there's not as much happening in that area, our spirit is getting flat. But that actually means that our material life is what drives our spirit. So if our spirit is feeling deflated and we've lost that spark because there's not as much happening on the physical, material level of our experience, then it's really saying that our material experience drives our spirit. And that's kind of a bit back to front. Really, if we're operating in alignment with who we are at a soul level, it's our spirit that aspires us, brings in that aspiration for us to be all that we're here to be, that then inspires us to take action in the world and move in the direction our soul wants us to go. That then motivates us to take that action and inspires us in the steps that we can take with enthusiasm. So it's actually our spirit driving us into the physical world rather than the physical world driving us in our spirit. So I kind of felt like, this is a good time for us to maybe realign ourselves and get things in an order where our spirit is inspiring us to aspire to be all that we can be during this time of change. And I wonder what changes our spirit would inspire us to take during this time. So maybe getting things in a different order. And I was listening to Caroline Meese talk this week, which one of my lovely clients sent me a link to, and she was talking about this is a never time. It's a time that we've never been in before. We've never had these circumstances before. And how can we use this period to perhaps be inspired to be things that we've never allowed ourselves to dream of before, that we've never dared to dream, that we've never dared to even consider that we could step forward in new ways. And given that it's such a time of immense change everywhere, and if we're really flowing with the energy of what's happening at the moment, maybe we can actually use this time to dream of things that we've never dreamed of before, we've never considered possible before, because it's a time that is almost a collective dark night of the soul at the moment, but we can plant seeds in this darkness at the moment that's going on globally that can then shoot up with the energy of spring. So thank you, Gina, for that comment. Gina said, yes, so good. So what I thought we'd do tonight is get the cart back behind the horse. Horse being spirit that drives us, and the cart being the physical material being that we are. And maybe do a meditation tonight that helps us realign with our soul and what our soul is inspiring within us, that then reignites our mojo, our motivation and our enthusiasm and drive in the material sense, in the physical sense, in the actions that we take in the world during this time of change, so that we can actually use this time really wisely and well. And I'm wearing a dragonfly t-shirt tonight because dragonfly is the energy of magic. It's the energy of bringing in winds of change, messages of wisdom and enlightenment, communication from the elemental world. So maybe we can bring in some of the energy of the dragonfly magic, dragonfly medicine, into dreaming new dreams for ourselves, collectively, individually, within our community. So how does that sound? Any thumbs up on that? You ready to do a meditation? Anyone have any comments, any questions about that before we go into the meditation? Nope, all good? All right, so I invite you to join in this meditation, and let's see together how the magic of dragonfly can weave its way in the background to see what your soul is wanting to bring into your dreaming tonight. So thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Gina. So let's just take a moment or two to close our eyes and get comfortable. Take a few slow, deep breaths. With each breath, simply inviting your body to relax. With each inhalation, breathing in fresh new energy. And with each exhalation, just simply letting go of all that no longer serves you. Taking 3 deep breaths in the pit of your belly. Breathing in the light of your spirit, your soul. And letting go of all the resistance, all the struggle, all the frustration, all the tension in your body, just really letting everything go. And as always, see yourself surrounded in a bubble of white light. And that bubble surrounded in a circle of blue flame. And as you do, set the intent that your energy field is whole and complete, sealed and protected, and that you are shielded and supported on all levels of your being, that only love may enter and exit. That all energy coming in and leaving your energy field passes through that blue flame, but it's transmuted into pure loving energy. And then just very gently allow your breathing to find its natural rhythm and bring your awareness into your heart chakra, that energy center in the middle of your chest. And just allow your awareness to come to rest within your heart space. And just notice how the energy feels here. However you experience it, there's no right or wrong. And as you do, allow yourself to connect with your soul, your spirit, your higher self. And just ask within your heart space, what kind of world does your soul aspire to be within? What kind of world do you aspire to be in? And whatever comes, don't edit it or judge it. Just allow it to be there to fill you with its energy. And then as you allow yourself to be seeing whatever you're shown, feeling whatever you're feeling, that world that you would aspire to be in, ask in your heart space, what within that world inspires me to maybe be or share or do or contribute in some way? What is it within that world that inspires me to contribute, to bring forth the value I'm here to share? What about that world inspires me to be part of it? And then, being in your heart, ask the question, what within that motivates me to maybe step forward and take action in some way? What's the motivation I feel within that inspired vision that I aspire to? And then again, ask within your heart space, what might be the first step I could take with enthusiasm to move myself in that direction that I'm being inspired in and feeling motivated to move toward? What might be that first step I could take that my enthusiasm is moving me into taking? And then whatever comes, thank your soul for showing you, inspiring you, aspiring you. And know that if you can see it, if you can conceive of it, then that energy is already there within you, waiting to unfold. That there are no limits to what it is we are all capable of, each capable of. So whenever you feel ready, just take a couple of slow, deep breaths. Give your fingers and toes a bit of a wriggle. Set the intent that you take with you what you've been shown, that you remember it clearly. Have a bit of a stretch and then just gently open your eyes. And maybe if you've got a piece of paper beside you or a notepad, just write it down. Whatever it was that came to you. And if nothing in particular came, that's okay. It might come in your dreams tonight. It might come tomorrow. It might come through a conversation you have with someone during the week. We never know when, where, or how that guidance will come to us. But just know that as we ask, so the answers will come. And hi, Michelle. Thank you for joining. And as you're writing down your own notes, if you feel like sharing, it would be lovely if you could write it in the chat box. Maybe some of the aspiration, inspiration, motivation, or enthusiasm that came through for you, because they're kind of the four levels. Spirit aspires us to, brings through that aspiration to the greater, more expanded version of ourselves that we can be, that then inspires us to step forward, that we feel the motivation to do so, and the enthusiasm that carries us to take those steps. And all of that is a much more inflated energy of our mental energy and our emotional energy and our physical energy that is essentially our mojo. When we're feeling inspired and motivated and enthusiastic to aspire to be all that we're here to be, then our mojo is fully switched on and we're fully aligned with our spirit and our soul. So any comments in the chat box? I think there's a big lag tonight, or it's a quiet night. We've got a few people on the call. And if anyone's watching this recording afterwards, love it if you could share in the chat box what things came through to you, for you during that meditation. For me, when I was tuning in, I was definitely seeing a lot more to do with feeling inspired and aspired to assist people to connect a lot more in community, despite the distances, regardless of the circumstances, to help us all be more connected internally and with each other and in community. So that was something that was coming through for me. What about you on the call? No comments. It's a quiet night tonight. Maybe it's reflective of the energy. Did anything come through for you? Are you not sure? Do you have any questions? Was there any part of that you found maybe difficult or weren't sure about? By all means, add those comments in the chat box. Or it might be that my chat box is completely frozen. Thank you, Jane. I received a strong sense of encouraging and being the driver of connections, connecting people, bringing people together. Hey, you and I, we should get together. That was exactly what I was being shown. Connecting people, bringing people together. So there's an alignment right there. And perhaps a conversation that we can continue beyond this meditation as to how to start taking action in that direction. Anyone else like to share? Thanks, Jane, being the driver of connections. I guessed it. No, it's a quiet night tonight. Well, like I said, maybe that's reflective of the energy, or it might be a major time lag on me seeing the comments. Margaret said, inspired me to offer mentoring support to others at work. Beyond "are you okay" words with positive action. Wow. There is so much that can be done there at the moment. I'm not sure when Are You Okay Day is, but this is such a vulnerable time for people. And to really share actually what's going on, I'm having some really interesting conversations with complete strangers at the moment because we're all masked up. And people are desperate to kind of connect, and so I'm stopping and talking to people. It was last week, okay, I'm a bit behind the time. Am I okay? No, not when it comes to time. But in Melbourne, I'm having really interesting conversations with strangers in the park, and people are being vulnerable because it's such unusual times here, and it's causing stress and strain and fatigue, emotional fatigue in ways. But you're right, just beyond the words, what actions can we be taking? So offering mentoring support is really powerful. So what might be the first action you could take to get that energy moving? Gina, I was inspired to start a social enterprise company to help connect the coffee farmers in Papua New Guinea to the coffee roasters in Australia, where the profit from sales go to building a library for the children who have never seen books and go to school without shoes, and to provide solar power to the villages that have no power. That sounds like you have a very informed view, Gina, that you've got some connections there and you know the situation in Papua New Guinea. And what a wonderful vision. One of the things I'm teaching at the moment, I'm teaching a new program, and one of the things that comes up in our self-talk is, who am I to dream so big? Who am I to think I can do this? Who am I to think I could start this project? But who am I actually? Who am I not to? We have so many gifts and abilities within us that we're not fully tapping into, or we're yet to discover. So all I can say to those wonderful dreams that have been shared so far is that if you can dream it, if you can conceive it, if your soul is aspiring that within you, then you are more than capable of taking those steps to create it and to draw to you the resources and the assistance and whatever else is needed for that dream to come to fruition, for that service in the world, to be helping those children, to be helping people in the workplace, with Margaret, with Jane, to be helping people in the community come together. If that's coming to you through your heart and your soul, then that's something that you are more than capable of stepping forward into to create. So those are really wonderful things that came through. And if there's anything else that maybe people want to share later on, that you're on the call or watching this recording, that would be really wonderful as well. And part of what I'm being inspired to do at the moment, or aspired to assist with, is where people have visions, have goals, have dreams like that, to actually be of service to, in whatever ways I can, to assist those things to start to come into form, to start to come into fruition. So those of you that are watching the call, if there's any way that you'd like extra assistance in starting to perhaps dare to dream a little bit more, start to take action, start to plant those seeds in the soil. If there's any way I can assist you with that, then just give me a shout out, because that's something that I'm really looking to be of service in, and to help connect people and resources and help bring those things through to fruition, because it is an exciting time. As much as it's a scary time at the moment, it's also an exciting time for new possibilities to start to be birthed, and for things to be rebirthed out of this period of immense global change. So thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for joining the call. If you're watching the recording, thank you so much for watching it afterwards. Does anyone have any questions before we finish up? That process that we just did is something that you can do for yourself. If ever you feel like your motivation is starting to go a bit flat, to just realign yourself and check in with your soul, what your soul is guiding you to do, because that will bring forward a much bigger energy within you, rather than looking to the external world and just reacting and responding to what's going on, or maybe even possibly, like I was doing, resisting what's going on. Mandy has said, I kept seeing dragonflies. Might have been subconscious influence there. You're welcome, Margaret. So, Mandy, you might like to look up the spiritual meaning of dragonfly and see, maybe if you were seeing it in your meditation, it might not just have been my t-shirt, it might be that there's some significance there for you. So dragonfly, it can have some very inspirational messages there. So you might like to Google the medicine, shamanic meaning of dragonflies, the significance of that energy. Might be something there for you to work with. So on that beautiful note, thank you so much for joining the call. If you have any questions, pop them in the chat box even after this video has finished, and feel free to use this meditation again yourself. Oh, one last comment. Michelle has said, my energy fluctuates depending on whether or not I've listened to the news and all the heavy, fearful messages it sends out. I actively avoid the news as much as I can. Yeah, so, if you switch off the news and go within, so instead of watching that box, go within and watch this heart space and connect in with what your soul is inspiring within you and aspiring you to be. Then that's really going to, whatever comes through is really going to uplift your energy and motivate you to take whatever action your soul is guiding you to take. So that's a wonderful note to end it on. So thank you so much for joining tonight. If you do have any questions, drop them in the chat box. And if I can be of service in any way, please let me know. Otherwise, thank you all and have a beautiful week. And bye for now until next time. Okay, bye.